Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Zube. Can you
Yes.
hear me? Yes. So on the slides on Canva, did you see that the other slides aren't working as required?
Which slides?
Are they working fine on your end? On my end? Okay. No, as long as they're working fine on your end. They're not working fine on my end. Cool.
Um, Google, can you just send the YouTube thing on Element,
Oh, the
please?
link. Yes.
I having a problem with my Element on my side.
Cool, but on Element, I already had shared the Zoom link with them as well. So I'll just share the
Okay.
YouTube link. Go Hello, everybody. Welcome to another session. We will be starting our session just 5 minutes past 11 so that we give everyone enough time to join us. But as customs and how we normally do it, I'd like just to ask you guys to say hi and where you're dialing in from. If you're not shy, um, feel free to unmute and introduce yourself and where you're dialing in from. And if not, if you are a bit shy, you can use the chats to say hi, your name, and where you're dialing in from so that we can get to know each other as well. And then me and my colleagues will then introduce ourselves later on as well so you guys can know us.
Hi. Hi.
Mm.
Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, I
My name
can.
is my name is Nzumburo Taro. I'm watching from Bulupani. Yeah,
Ah, nice to meet you. All the way from Polokwane.
yes, from Bulupani.
Oh, how's the weather?
Yo, it's so hot. It's so hot.
Can imagine. And then you'll find out that it's raining in Cape Town. Isn't that
Yeah,
crazy? Nice
that's
to meet
crazy.
you.
Nice to meet you too.
Nicola, how's the weather in Cape Town?
It actually was raining this morning,
Uh,
and it's going to be raining today, but now it's sunny and warm, and the sun is on my back, so I'm gonna get a bit of sunburn.
you guys have like five five different weather in one day.
Yeah, it's called the four seasons in one day. Yes. And no matter where you are, you'll have a different season.
Anybody else wants to introduce themselves? Unlike Cape Town, every other province is very consistent in terms of weather. Very consistent. It doesn't just start raining out of the blue. Anyone else want to introduce themselves? You can use the chat if you want to. You can unmute and tell us where you're dialing in from while we wait. Oh, and for those who just joined, we will start our session at 11:05. Lihumo. Hi, Lihumo from Pretoria. Nice to meet you. Lihumo is on YouTube. Nice to hear from you. So I'm guessing everyone else is shy, or they just don't want to be known. Interesting. Hi, Mbusa, all the way from Springs. Mbusa is just here around the corner. How are you doing, Mbusa? Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. So today we don't have Cape Town. We don't have Joburg. We have Bulukwane, Springs, and Pretoria. That was a switch up.
Everyone else is Decembering. Holiday,
Literally,
100%.
literally, and we here upskilling ourselves. So who's the real winner? Hey, Mashaba from Eastern Cape again today. For like this person has a streak of attending the sessions, guys. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much, Onesimo, for joining us again this week. Really appreciate you being here. Since you're here, we can start. Unless I'm joking. I'm joking. And for those of you who just joined, we'll start our session at 5 minutes past 11. Just to let everyone join. But while we wait, feel free to introduce yourself. You can unmute and say hi, or you can just type it in the chats and tell us where you're dialing in from. Okay. There's someone on YouTube. Hello. I, I don't know how to pronounce your name with your pink hand. Hi. Is it Titanic? Titanic essay. Hi, Titanic. Or is it Phi Tonic? Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining
Sounds like a
us.
very Cape Town DJ name when you said it.
We can
Cytonic.
never come. We'll just let's hear where Cytonic is from. If it's Cape Town, we then also assuming he's a DJ. Or she is a DJ, we might be. Hey, hi Chantal. Are you good? I hope you're well. So scary when somebody says hi and says your name, and you know your name is not displayed anyway, so you kind of understand that this person knows you personally. So they called you by your name. Nice to meet you. Okay. One more minute before we start, guys. Thank you all for joining. While we wait, please feel free to introduce yourself. You can unmute and say hi, or you can just type it in the chats. We do advise you guys to please be interactive, It is a two-way street. We'd like to hear from you guys as well, to hear your opinions, to share your opinions. So feel free to do so. It is a safe space. We are all here to learn and to network as well. Right. So just say hi. I mean to say hi, and where you're dialing in from, just type it in the chat as well. And then we'll greet you accordingly. Okay, cool. I think we can hit it off. Hey, everyone, can I just get a thumbs up that you guys can hear me, that you can see me, and you can actually also see the screen that is presented in blue in front of you? Cool, cool, cool. There, the thumbs coming in. Cool. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Welcome again to another session for those of you who have been joining us. For those of you who are new in this session, welcome as well. We do have these sessions every Thursday, but we're going into December. So a bit has changed. But thank you so much for taking the time to actually join us and to actually come and learn something and to upskill yourself as well. So today, we're going to be just continuing from our last week's workshop. And if you weren't here last week, this is my advice for you to quickly run to our channel on IBM Skillsboard, which a link will be sent as well. Run to the channel and make sure that you do find the video from your last week's workshop and also go through that one. But essentially, what we're going to be doing today is just building on from what we have learned last week, right? And our main focus this week is problem solving. So, from the basics that you've learned, how do I then start putting it into code, right? So, we'll actually be coding today. Cool. So our agenda is I'll just have a few announcements to share with you guys before we code, and then we'll then dive right into our coding session. And then after that, we will have the IBM site walkthrough and then a Q&A session. But with the Q&A session, if you do have questions throughout the session, feel free to jot them in the chats or just put your hand up. I think one of us will allow you to unmute and you can ask your question so that we can clarify wherever. It is a workshop and it is a coding class, so we are expecting people to have questions where they don't understand, where we can dive deeper into something as well, so that you can work away with a lot of your questions that you might be having answered. Cool. So first things first, you know how the customs are. We would like you guys to mark this session as complete. So essentially what you're doing here is a link will be sent in the chats. You'll click on that link and it'll take you to the stream in front of you if you do have a profile, right? And what you then need to do is that gray button that says mark as complete, you just click that. And the nice thing is that you'll also get a certification to actually say that you have attended the session, you have actually started doing some live sessions with IBM Skills Build as well as Weaving Code. So the link is in the chat, right? If you don't have a profile yet, feel free to create a profile and mark this as complete and receive your certifications. If you have questions as how to find your certificate or any other questions as well, that will come on a later stage. And the nice other thing is that straight after the session is done, a link to the session will be uploaded in there, right? Then you click and go to activity and you can rewatch the session whenever you want, right? So feel free to do that now. The link is in the chat. There you go. Just mark that as complete. Cool. And then after that, this is the certification. Can you see this is how it is? So it will have your name there, and then it will say that you have um, attended the second part of the live coding workshop with the Within Code team. Cool. Thank you so much. And then our upcoming events. So the last event that we're gonna be having is on the 18th, which is next week, which is gamified learning plans for team collaboration. So essentially the whole session, we're just gonna be learning team collaboration, but through playing games. So it's a nice networking session. It's a nice way to learn how to work in a team, how to diversify yourself in terms of the people that you're gonna be working with, right? So please do pull through. It's gonna be a very nice session. I think you guys are gonna enjoy it. Um, and then be on the lookout on our social media platforms at Within Code, where our videos are posted each week, where there's going to be an overview of what you can find on IBM Skills Build. Sorry about that. Step-to-step guide on how to get started, and what you can actually get on IBM Skills Build and why it's important. So be on the lookout for that on our social media platforms as well. Cool. Cool. So the reason why we're here today. So essentially how this session is gonna go is each of our speakers have a problem solving code for you, right? We still walk you through step by step, which you might get in any, some of them you might even get in interview technical questions. Can you guys still hear me? Because my Wi-Fi is
Yes, I think just turn your video off. So I'm also going to do the same, so our Wi-Fi doesn't go on the fritz.
Okay, cool. That's fine. So essentially, we'll just be walking you through different types of coding problems and step by step, and hopefully we'll teach you new concepts or just build on the concept that you've learned last week, and you'll walk away with more information. Cool. So just to give you an overview, we'll be doing Fizzbuzz, Fibonacci, Hangman, some rock, paper, scissors, and then at the end there's gonna be a grand finale. That's where we'll walk you through as well. So let me just get you guys started. So firstly, we're gonna be doing Fizzbuzz. I'm getting feedback. Oh, so I'm just gonna share my screen. Just give me a thumbs up when you can see my screen. And every now and again, please just send reactions so I know that you guys are still here. I'm just going to share my whole screen. Cool. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So firstly, we're going to do Fizzbuzz, right? And some of you, I know you've heard the word Fizzbuzz before, but some of you, this might be new, right? So what exactly is Fizzbuzz? So Fizzbuzz is a popular programming exercise, and often it is used in coding interviews to test a candidate's understanding of control flows. And when we mean control flows, we mean your if statements, as well as your loops as well, and condition logic, right? if like you know how to put things as true or false in that situation. And essentially, what is needed or required from you from this program is they want you to write a program that will print numbers from 1 to 100, right? But for multiples of 3, it needs to print fizz instead of the specific number. For multiples of 5, it needs to print buzz instead of the number. And then for numbers that are multiples of both 3 and 5 together, you need to print fizz buzz, right? And what you're going to be learning from this essentially is loops, how to iterate through or how to loop through numbers from 1 to 100, right? Secondly, conditionals, you're going to be learning your if, your elif state, and your else statements, and check division conditions. And then you'll learn something called a modular operator, which determines if a number is divisible by another and the remainder is 0, which I'll go into detail also. But lastly, one thing I forgot to add there is that you guys are going to be learning priority of code, right? So the why it's important to prioritize certain codes other than other codes, right? But I'll put it into action, right? So I have my IDE open here. So if you can, if you'd like to code along on the Markers Complete, there is a link to an online IDE. So if you can just click on that and then split your screen and have your video on one side and have your IDE on another side, so we can code along, right? So essentially, we're going to be using, there's two types of loops that we've learned from last week, but because this type of loop needs to be a specific type, I need to specify that I want to loop from 1 to 100, right? There's only one loop that allows me to do those, right? And that is the for loop, right? So if I come here and I start saying for number, right? Number now becomes my variable that will hold that specific number in what now? In a function called range. So the range function, how it works is, as you can see here, it says range, you can put your stop, or essentially you can put where you want it to start, where you want it to stop, and where you want this and what you want the step to be. If you only put the stop, essentially it will put a default for itself as 0 to start, and then it will put a default step as 1 always, right? But if you then specify, it will use those specific ones, right? So if you're not sure of what I'm speaking about, do head on to last week's video where this was actually broken down, right, by Zube, if I'm not mistaken. So essentially, the thing says we need to loop from 1, so that's where we want to start, until 100, right? But remember when I said we don't start counting at 1, right? Because if I put 100 here, it doesn't. It will not count to that 100. It will count until 99. So in order for me, right, to be able to count and include this 100, it's something called an n plus 1, so which means that number plus 1, so which will be 101, right? And remember I said if I don't put the step there, we'll then conclude that the step is 1. Cool. Then from there, in Python, right, as you can see that when I press enter, it leaves the space here. This is called indentation. So for Python to know that this, whatever I'm about to write, falls under this one loop, it indents it. It leaves this space and puts it inside of it to actually say that code belongs to that loop, right? So they said that multiples of 3, it is to print fizz. So we're going to start and say, okay, if number, because number has now become our what? Our variable, right? Then comes something called a modulo sign. So this is a percentage sign, but in Python or in coding, it's called a modulo sign. And what a mod sign does is that it gives you the remainder of a number, right? So if let's say I say 5 divided by 2, right? instead of me getting the number, if I put a modulo sign, it will say, okay, this will remain 1. So 1 will be my answer here. Do you guys understand? So the modulo number, what it does, it gives the remainder of that specific number. So if I say if number mod 3 is double equal sign, so this is a conditional to say assigned or equal to, right, 0. So if that number, if I mod that number by 3 and it gives me the remainder of 0, if that is true, then I would like it to print. What should it print? Fizz. Right? Cool. And we have our first one in control. And then the second one says if it's one that belongs to or is a multiple of 5, it needs to print buzz, right? But instead of me saying if again, I needed to be able to go through each condition and not treat each condition as a new condition. It needs to say if it fails on the third one, I wanted to check for the second one, right? Instead of saying if it fails on the first one, done, let's go check for the second one. It doesn't work like that. So in order for me to check it like that, I need to say else if, right? Else if the first one fails, check this one, right? Else if number modulo sign 5. If that number's remainder is divisible by 5 and it remains 0, then all I needed to do is print buzz. Cool. So that's the first thing. So now, instead of now having for me to add more code, I need to start checking if my logic works. So I run this and I can see that, okay, it does print fizz buzz, but I don't understand what is it printing fizz buzz for. So all I'll do is I'll add an else to actually say else, meaning that if all else fails, please just print the number, right? So, and see, my number is not in quotation marks, right? My number is just the word number because it's a variable that it is to have. Then if I now run this, it will go, okay, there, it's printing. It says, let me take this a bit up. 1, 2, fizz 4 buzz. 1, 2, 3 is divisible by 3, fizz 4. Instead of 5, it goes buzz, right? So, okay, this actually now works. But we're missing one more thing. It says if it's divisible by both 3 and 5, right? It needs to print fizz buzz, right? But my other now question comes here, and I said, okay, if if number mod 3 and we use the keyword and to test and if number, because it needs to be both 3 and 5, right? And number mod 5 is equals to 0. So I forgot this here. If that is true, right, it needs to print fizzbuzz. So it comes here. Cool. And I run this, right? But I'd like someone to tell me what the problem might be here, because if I come here and I check, 15 is both divisible by 3 and 5, right? So if 15 is divisible by both 3 and 5, it's supposed to be printing fizz bars instead of fizz. So what exactly is happening here? So if I'll take you back to the code, it starts by checking if it's divisible by 3 first. And if it hits that it's divisible by 3, it just prints fizz, right? It never comes to a point where it will check if it's divisible by 3 and 5. So this is where the priority of code needs to come in to actually say, first check if it's divisible by both 3 and 5, then check if it's divisible by 3, then check if it's divisible by 5. Because if it hits only one of them, which is true, then it will print that, right? So what we now need to do is we'll need to move this code up here to be the first one, our first if, and then we'll just remove that elif up here and add it down here. So now if I now then run this, if we go up and we look for 15, oh, everything is just increasing. Sorry about that. Oh, there. 15 is fizz bus. Cool. So do you guys have any questions there? So we've learned how to iterate, we've learned how to use if statement, and we've learned this whole new thing called a modular sign that gives us the remainder. And then we've also learned prioritizing specific code, right? Because of if it hits the first one, that will be then discovered as true, that it might not necessarily meet the last one. So do you guys have any questions for me? Let me just jump back to the side. Um, so I'm guessing, oh, so many people answers. Okay. Hey, can I please get the link to workshop 1? Cool. So 3 is the priority. No. So 3 and 5 is the priority. And the reason for that is because remember when I said that with 3, if something is divisible by both 3 and 5, if it hits 3, it means it will automatically say true. If it hits 5, it will automatically say true. So first we need to check if it hits both 3 and 5 first before it can check, right? Because if it just checked 3 or 5 first and then not 3 and 5, then it will not necessarily meet that. It will not necessarily meet that first condition. Can you please reshare the IBM link to this workshop? So I'm guessing you're referring to the mark as complete. So Nicola can share that, right? So I think there's not any other question. I hope we all understand. Can we just get a thumbs up to say yes, we understand this part of the thing? Cool. I'm seeing thumbs up. I'm seeing a thumbs up. If you do have any questions, jot them in the chats. And yeah, let us move on to the next one. I'm going to hand over to Nicola because I see that it's 11:30. Nicola?
Thought so. Hi guys, how's everyone doing today? Good luck. She's gonna do some reviews. Zubair, would you like to go first or should I go first?
I think you can go first, and then I'll go after you so they can share the website immediately after.
Okay, awesome. I think we're gonna do one block of code because you have to explain it. So there's gonna be a bit of a vote here. Do you guys want to see how rock, paper, scissors works or hangman in Python?
And then, Nicola, if there's time towards the end, maybe you can actually do more. So let's all just cover one and then see if time
That's what I'm
appears. I'll come
thinking.
back. Yeah.
We'll do hangman. Actually, we'll do rock, paper, scissors. It's the easiest.
Okay, cool. Thank you. See you guys.
Oh. Let me share the screen before I. Can everyone see my screen? Zubair?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do rock, paper, scissors. So with rock, paper, scissors, we have 3 options. And with that, we're going to use a well, oop, why is it not? While true loop. Wow, it's actually amazing. I can actually share my screen here, guys. You don't understand. I normally work on a Mac. Windows is the way to go. Okay. So with rock, paper, scissors, we will be the player. And this will be our variable. But we want the input from our player. But it can only be a certain type of input. Oh,
Nicola,
yes.
I'm just gonna have to leave the Zoom quickly and come back. I'm having a bit
Sure
of an issue
thing.
on my side.
Sure thing. Actually, oh, no. So we just put input. And it can only be. So I'm not going to do validation because that's going to take a lot of our time. So we're just going to make it as simple as possible. So this is just asking the question, choose one of these 3 items, rock, paper, scissors, as you all know the game. Oh, okay. And here we're going to say lower whatever our input is. Just so the computer knows what's going on. And this is a built-in function. So lower any input that we've put in. And then we're going to go computer, who we're playing against. And that person, that computer is going to do random. But with random choice, bracket, with random choice, we'll then have to get a built-in library. We'll have to import random. Next year, we'll go through modules and all that. It'll be very cool to teach you. They're very helpful. This is, so now we're making small letters for the, oh, okay. Oh. So this is all our computer can choose from. We're making it very simple, making a list. Oh, why does my computer keep on? Sorry, guys. Paper. So we've just made a list for our computer to choose randomly from, and then we're gonna so when we put our input in, we're now going to print what the computer chooses, and then we're going to see who wins. So, curly brackets, because this is what our computer chose. Yeah, brackets. See, it's not tiny. Oh, sorry. And so still in our while true, I'm just actually this is going to be a lot easier. So we're going to go on my notes. So in the next part, we're going to go if the player equals what the computer chose. So we do double equals because 1 equals, it would be a variable. Double equals, then it's going to be a tie. And then window one back, else if. Sorry guys, my computer is playing around. I think it's because there's so much going on. Close. I'm just gonna. Okay, so then else if play and computer. Let me find that. Hmm. Let me just, why is this one not working? Oh. Oh. And then here we have no. Oh, okay. My computer is crashing. Zubair, is anyone there? Oh, let me just share the screen.
Yes, I am. Yes, though.
Oh, my computer's crashing. Everything's black. Can you take over, please?
Okay. Must I go through my sections for now, and then while you sort your stuff out?
Yes, I'm gonna leave the meeting as well.
Wait,
I have,
before you leave the meeting, just make
I'm
me
like,
host so that
where are you?
I can still do these things.
Okay. I don't know what's happening.
Okay. Um. So while Nicola is busy fixing other things, I'll just quickly go through some things that you guys asked for in the last workshop that we had. So something that I found that basically helps a lot of people that are beginners, right, is just breaking down some of the questions that you get. So this is just something that I put together very quickly just to help you guys break down pieces of questions or pieces of code that is maybe confusing to some people, right? So this one is for a deck of cards, right? So this question says, design and implement a program to create a standard deck of 52 playing cards. The deck should include cards from all four suits, clubs, diamonds, hearts, and spades, with ranks ranging from ace to king, right? So to break this question down, you need to just look at what is expected from you, right? So it's asking you to create a deck, right? So you're gonna have to have something, either a list or some sort of database or something, right? To like save this deck as. So for today, I'm just gonna use the simplest thing. So I'm gonna use a list, right? So I can just call this deck, right? And I'll have a list. So to do this, right, before I add it to the list, I'm just going to first print out the code just to make sure that everything that I'm doing is correct, right? So the first thing that you're going to look at is what does it expect from you? So it says over here, the deck should include cards from all four suits. So it's clubs, diamonds, hearts, and spades. So the first thing you're going to do is create a list, right? And this list is going to have all four suits in it. And then you're going to also have to have it with ranks, right? Ranging from ace to king. So you're going to have another list. Once you have these two lists, right, you're going to have to use a for loop to basically take each list and take the first thing out of the first list and then run it through the second list and add those two together, right? So what we can do is we can first have a for loop that runs over the suits, right? So we can say for suit in suits, So what this is going to do, the first time this for loop is going to run, is going to go and take clubs, right? Then the second time it's going to run is going to go and get the diamonds, then the hearts, and the spades. But for each club, we want to have an ace of clubs, one of clubs, two of clubs, three of clubs, all of the way up until the king of clubs, right? So in this for loop, we're going to create another for loop that is going to run through the ranks, right? So we can say for rank in ranks, right? And for now, we're just going to print it out to see what's happening, right? So we can say print, so we can say, let's first add in. So this is going to be the suit, right? And then we're going to add in what suit are we in. Then we can add in which rank, right? So if we add in a rank over here, just to split it up as well. There we go. So now this should go through each suit and add a rank to that one, right? So if we run this, you'll see that it's printing out, right, the clubs, and then ace, 1, 2, all the way up until king, and then it goes to the diamond, right? So the first time the for loop is running, it's going through this one first, right? It's going to go and get clubs, then it's coming into the code, right? And then running another for loop over the ranks. So I'm taking the first time the suit, which is clubs, and then I'm running the for loop over ranks, right? Which is going to be either ace, 1, 2, depending on which one it's running on at the moment, right? So if I want to add this into a deck, right, instead of printing it out, all you need to do is you'll have to say deck append, and then we'll basically just add in for now this over here, right? And then at the end of it, we'll print out the deck. So if you look over here, right, when you are adding to a deck, right, there are some errors that you'll come across, right? So if you're looking at these errors, this will also help you to understand where you're making mistakes if something goes wrong, right? So if you look at line 12, right, when you're reading through the error, it will tell you exactly which line the error is on, and then also what the error is. So it's a type error, right? So it says append takes exactly one argument, but we gave 4, right? So over here it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So the append only takes on one argument at a time, right? So instead of adding it like this, what we can do, right? We can make another thing, another variable called card, right? And the card, we can basically set it out like this, right? And then when we add it, instead of adding that entire string, we can just add the card. So every time this card is going to change, right? So over here you will see you'll have a full deck. So you'll have where is it? Yeah. So you'll have all of these things added as a tuple, right? So if you look at the bottom, you'll see there's a suit, right? And then it will have spades and the rank, which is king, right? But if you want to just have it with the rank and the suit, right, you can just add it in like this. So if we remove this, it should add the two of them together, right? So now you can see that you have your club ace, club 1, club 2, club 3, club 4, and all of them up until you have 52 in the deck, right? So this is a way to add it into basically a list, right? Or make a complete deck of cards. Um, just checking the questions quickly. Nicola, are you back?
Yeah. So I can't share and type, so I'm just quickly. So also people have said hangman, so quickly writing that up, and then I'll go through it with them. So can do now.
Okay. Is there any question so far on what is this? So is there any questions or something that you maybe don't understand about the things that I've just done before I move on? Okay, I see here's one question here. Yes, so the brackets, right? So I'm assuming you're asking about these brackets over here. So the brackets does matter, right? So this over here, right? The square brackets, that is a list, right? So you will see over here that you will have around the circle brackets, right? And then you'll have square brackets. So the circle ones, those are for tuples, right? So on Tuesday, we went through all the different types of data that you can get, right? So you'll have brackets for dictionaries, you'll have brackets for tuples, lists, and I think it's just that.
Dictionaries have the common ones as well.
Yeah. So just to show you what it will look like, right? So with a list, right? A list is something that you can basically add into, you can change it, you can do whatever you want with it, right? Then you get something called a tuple. So for a tuple, right? A tuple has brackets like this. So a tuple, you can't really change it or move it around, right? It's something called immutable, right? So you can't really change it or basically play around with the data, right? So everything that is in a tuple is ordered, right? You can't move it around. And maybe if you have a look over here, like with clubs and diamonds, you can't really switch those around, right? Because everything is put in a certain way. So you can think of it as like a database that you're creating that shouldn't be changed, right? Nothing should be updated in this list. Then we have the dictionaries, right? So the way a dictionary looks, the brackets are parentheses, right? So each type of thing has a specific bracket that you use for it, right? So dictionaries use this because it has key value pairs, right? So inside of this, you will have, say, for instance, a name, just to go through it very quickly, and then, oh, sorry, I'll just put that like this, and then you'll have a person's name, right? So this is what is called a key value pair. So this over here, right? You will have your key and you'll have a value, and this is separated by the oh, I'm blanking on what this is called, the two dots. Nicola, what is this called again? I can't get to it now. Never mind
I can't even think now. I'm blank as well.
that. Yeah, so this is how a dictionary will look, right? And then if you have more than one thing, you will have a comma in between it, right? So you can have a name, a person's age, and then just to have your value as well, you'll have either a integer or a string, right? So this is the different types of brackets that you can get. So it each has a specific function to it. Okay. Um, is there any other questions? Um, okay. So just to go a bit further with this, right? Um, you can also put this into a function, right? So something that Nicola was going through functions. If you do want to use this piece of code maybe somewhere else, right? And you don't want to keep on writing the code over and over and over. You just want to have maybe a new deck of cards being made each time you may be playing a game or something, right? So instead of the deck being changed, or maybe you removing cards, changing things around, right? You can put this in a function where it can just create like a fresh deck of cards each time. So a quick way to do this, right, is basically, oh, um, 1 second. So what you'll do, right, you'll basically just define a function, right? And you can maybe say generate deck, right? So what will happen right now is, let me just remove this as well, and then I'll just put this inside of the function, just so that it's doesn't give any errors, right? So what it's going to do right now, right? For you to actually get a new deck of cards, you'll actually have to call this function. So to call a function, you're basically just going to call the name of the function. So what you'll do is you'll say generate deck, right? So on a lot of IDEs, it will actually give you a auto generate, right, to like fill out the things that are missing. So what you can do is you can just press tab or enter, right, and this will actually complete that for you. And then you'll have your brackets, right? So this here is for your arguments. So the arguments that goes into this, right? Um, you can have, maybe if you're changing a few things, right? So if this was a function to print out somebody's name, right? You could put the argument in over here and you could have it as name, right? And then over here, when you are calling it, say you want to print out your name, right? You'll put your name in, and then over here it will come in and you'll have to print maybe just name, right? So what this is going to do when you're calling the function is going to print out the name. Then something else you can do with the function is return, right? So with the return, you can have the function actually give you something back. So if you, for instance, now creating a deck, right? Let me just have that over there. So what do I mean by return, right? So return is something that basically gives the user something back. So when you're doing something like this, right? If I were to just run this code, right? It would just print out over here. It would just do this part, right? And it will add this to the deck, but it won't actually give me this over here. So if I run this code right now, right? Oh, crap. Sorry about that. So if I just do that, right? It's going to tell me none over here, right? Because now it's adding to a deck, but it's not giving anything back. So it's just going to print out what is over here, right? So if I want to actually print out the deck, right, I will return the deck. And now when I print this function out, it's actually going to give me a list of all of the cards that I made over here, right? So the return function basically returns a variable or a list or something that you can actually print out or get from this function, right? So if you were to maybe have a new variable, right? Let's call this fresh deck, right? And now the fresh deck is going to basically go and generate a new deck, right? So if I print out a fresh deck, so now it should still print out the same like that. So you'll see that the fresh deck is now printing out this over here. So if for some reason you have a program where you're basically playing maybe Uno, where you're throwing away cards, right? And you're starting a new game, so now you need to generate a new deck, right? What this is going to do is you'll basically just have to go call this, right? It's going to generate a new deck for you by this code that you've created over here. And then from there, you can use it again however you wish, right? Is everybody understanding that part of the code? Can I just get the thumbs up, or if you don't understand anything? Okay, cool. Not saying anything, so I think everybody is fine with that. Nicola, is everything fine with you? Have you
Sure,
managed to
I'm just going to go through Hangman with you guys. I'm not going to touch my keyboard. I'll just share it.
Okay.
There we go. Sure. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? So,
Yes.
okay, awesome. So with Hangman, we are also going to import the library random because we are going to make the computer do a random choice here. So with Hangman, Zubair went through lists. We are going to make a word list. Here you can put anything in. It's going to be a Hangman game. It can go any way you want. I've just put easy animals to make it like a little bit of a challenge. Here is our variable word. It's going to do a random choice and it's going to go through our list. So it's going to go through here and it's going to find a word. This is even before the game starts. And then here with guess, I'm just going to run it so you can see what I'm talking about. Guess is, of course, those little letters there. The little spaces, sorry, the underscores. We send so many underscores for the length of the word that was chosen. We're going to have 6 attempts at Hangman to choose the letters. We're not choosing the word, only letters. And it's going to say, welcome to Hangman over here. So now the game has started and we have 0 attempts, and this is going to count the attempts we have the letters, and there we go. So of course I'm just going to put in, oh sorry, C, wrong. Okay, so now here it's going to go from letter in range, sorry, I in range of the word. If it is if the guess is correct, if I is correct, the guess, then it's going to say correct. I did not get that. So now we're going to go on to the next one, else. Then we minus 1 attempt. So now we have to keep on going. And slowly but surely, we're going to keep on. Oh, and that is for the string. Sorry if I'm not very good at explaining code. And then O and G. So if I kept on going, I've filled up the letters, the underscores, and I say congratulations. Word equals the word, I guess, is the word from the word the computer chosen. And otherwise, I would have been game over. I didn't carry on and say, do you want to play again in this one? I quickly wrote this up. So if you want me to explain anything more, please let me know in the chat. Otherwise, any questions?
If there's anything else that you guys are maybe struggling with, so for those of you that are coders, right? Maybe you just started and you're struggling with something. You can let us know and we'll try to maybe go through it with you. I'm just checking if there's anything on the YouTube side. Yeah, so if there's anything that you guys are struggling with right now that you maybe don't understand, or anything else that you want us to maybe go through, you can always put it into the chat and then we can go through that with you.
Or unmute yourselves and ask questions. We're here to help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there a question? Okay. If there is no other questions, what I'm going to do is just quickly go through the IBM website just to show you where you can find the recording of this. If you do have any questions that come up later on, right? I'm just going to try and share that screen quickly. Okay. Nicola, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So just quickly, to show you where you can find this recording, right? So after this, we will be adding the recording to IBM Skills World where you will be able to find it, and then also where you can put your questions later on if it does come up, right? So if you do come to IBM Skills World, right, and you come to our channel, so to find our channel, you just have to go to the search bar at the top, and then basically just search WTC, right? And there's only going to be one thing that pops up, right? If you come into here, what you're going to do is just look at the top of each ticket, right? There will be live online. So all of these are previous workshops that we have had, right? All of these have recordings to them, so you can go and look at it later on. I'm just trying to find quickly where today's one is. So I'm not seeing it right now. I'm not sure if it actually got put up.
It is on the channel. Can you refresh your channel? There at the bottom,
Okay,
there's 1
there
and
we
2.
So what you're going to do, right? You will see that the live coding workshops will have part 1 and part 2 on it, right? Part 2 is today's one. And then if you do want to go and have a look at the one that we did on Tuesday, right? It is also on the channel and it will say part 1, right? So all the IDEs that we used is on the description part of it, right? And then also what you guys can do, if you guys do have any questions, you can add it as a review over here. So if there is anything that you're struggling with, maybe you practicing your coding, maybe you're going through a question which has maybe for loops, while loops, any of those things that we went through, and you still maybe don't understand. Or if there's maybe anything else, maybe you're going through Git, right? So if you are a first year student at We Think Code, you'll be going maybe through Git, your VS Code, your terminal commands, any of those things, right? If you do have any questions on it, you can add it in over here, or you can also email us. Let me just change to that tab over there quickly. So if you look at the bottom over here, this is the email address, right? So if you do have any questions, any help with anything, you can always email us over there and we can try and put together a workshop for you that will help you out with anything that you're struggling with, right? And then also, I'll just share this over here. To find the certificate, right, for the workshops, once you have marked it as complete, right? So over here, you will see it says mark complete, right? All you have to do is say mark complete and then put in the time, right? Once you submit this, over here in the actions page, you will see view completion certificate, right? And then this is where you'll be able to get your certificate as well as you see before, right? Um, and then something else as well that came up recently. So for those of you that are doing either a skill credential or a digital credential, these things will be on Credly, right? So the only difference with the IBM certificate and the Credly certificate is the picture, right? So with these certificates, for you to get it, you will just have to go to Credly. So if I can just show you very quickly. So over here, you'll have to go to Credly by PSL, right? And then once you come in here, it will ask you to sign in, right? So if you go to the sign in button at the top, um, if you don't have an account yet, right, you can create an account. If you do, you can just sign in using Google and then basically just choose which account you want to log in with, right? And then what you can do is you'll be able to find all of the certificates, or sorry, the badges that you have earned previously, right? And to find all of them, you'll just scroll a little bit down, go to manage your badges, and all of your badges will be over here. So for you to actually share or download any of these, you'll click on the badge, go to the share button at the top, and then you can either download a certificate, download the badge image, right? Or you can just share it straight from the Credly website to any of your social media sites, right? Um, Nicola, is there anything that I'm missing?
Not at all. I'm just trying to get the link for the sign up for next week's webinar. So I can just put that in chat as well.
Just a question. Is the sign up link on the survey?
Yes, I have shared the survey now as well. I just want to make it, I'm going to put it on YouTube as included because sometimes people maybe skip that. But you can go through the chat and see if you can show them the survey, please.
Okay. So if you guys are interested in joining us next week, right? You can come over here to the workshop survey. This is just a quick thing just for us to basically see what you're interested in so that for the next webinar or workshop, we'll be able to answer some of those questions or things that you're looking forward to, right? Or things that you might be struggling with. So what you can do is you can just click on go to activity, right? And once you fill in this form, right? Oh, let's just say over there. Right over here you'll see there is a festive fund, right? So over here, if you click on this link, it will take you to the registration form, right? So this is the form over here that you have basically have to sign up, use to sign up for next week's webinar, right? So that will just be going through some games and us basically just playing those games with you guys, basically building team collaboration, um, teaching you how to explain the things that you are seeing in front of you, right? So basically turning visuals into words. So this will help you if you are looking for a job. So if you're looking at maybe interviews or you trying to just explain code, right? This will actually help you out a lot. So we are going to be going through a few of the games with you guys to just show you some basics of coding, how the coding works, and then you can also just hop on just if you have any questions, right? I think that is all from my side. Nicola, is there anything else that?
Nothing at all. And come with your questions and let's have a chat about coding and collaboration, etc. It's gonna be a fun one. It's also on a Wednesday, I would like to point out.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining. Hope to see you guys next week. Yeah. See you guys soon. Bye.
See you guys next week.